Welcome back. You're watching the Double X Factor on CNBC TV 18, and it's time to meet our guest this week. I'm at Cerebris Consultants in Mumbai, and our guest is the founder, Anita Ramachandran. Anita, it's lovely to have you on our show.
And Anuradha, very happy for you to come here to our office. It's really wonderful.
You know, you saw that report that we put out this week. My question to you, Anita, is what is the compelling case for companies to make this investment, to take this extra effort?
Anuradha, first, we have such a talent crunch. So I think we really need every single person who is sort of talented out to be back in the workplace. See, the second thing is, I think that women do bring a different touch and feel to a workplace. And I think that's sort of good for the whole team. You know, I must tell you on the lighter side, you know, we are an organization that are almost all women.
Yeah.
And 4 years ago, my girls came and told me, you know, ma'am, we need to have diversity in our organization. We need to have some guys because otherwise, you know, we are all one kind. So I think, you know, this is true. You need to have some of that, you know, balance come into the workplace. So I think both these reasons make it essential. I find companies doing this today really because the talent crunch is far too severe, and many of the girls who actually choose out of the workplace are actually the more talented ones. I find that really unfortunate, but that's because they have a choice to work or not work.
Right, and there are companies doing it. You know, in your experience, because Cerebris Consultants actually does HR consultancy across a wide array of companies and across sectors, isn't it?
Anu, I don't think there are as many companies who are as actively doing that program. To tell you very honestly, I think there's more lip service than, you know, actual what happens. I find that if a woman has worked in a company and you have a track record there, yes, people will go out of the way to do it. But if it's an unknown person, they're not going to go and do that as a program.
What are some of the factors that a woman needs to consider or come up for consideration when she decides to come back to work? What are some of the insecurities? Because can you imagine if I were to take a break and then 5 years later my peers would be in different positions and perhaps you know, at different levels of compensation, you know, and then the overarching guilt of am I making the right decision or you know, of leaving parenting to someone else?
You see, I think it's a very hard decision. You know, when you come, you really have to come to the workplace saying that now when I'm here at work, I'm focused at work, and really leave your issues home. But the question that you said earlier, you know, that classmates have gone ahead and so on, I have found that actually the most difficult thing for women to deal with, because many of the women who
like you said, very talented
are very
women.
talented, and had they stuck on, they would have, you know, many years ago, and now I'm talking like 25 years back, when I had my first kid, I, you know, for the first time then, it was like, you know, not something that was common. I said, well, I want to work reduced hours. And the point was, okay, then you're not going to get promoted when you're due because you're working reduced hours. And I can tell you, it took me, you know, like 7-8 years to get over that. I mean, I continued because I love my work and I wanted to do, and I do think you know, it was wonderful that the company gave me the opportunity of, you know, doing both of that for you know, 4.5 years or so. But you know, I did get promoted you know, later. See, today when I look back, I say that actually, you know, women need to understand you have a long life in career. It doesn't matter, you know, that 1 or 2 years if you are sort of left behind, because you can always make it up later. But you know, at that time, at that age when you are still running very fast, it's extremely hard. It's extremely hard. That's why I told you, it took me 7-8 years
To come to terms.
Yeah, to come to terms with it. And then because of that, I think I worked really extra hard to try to make up for that time and, you know, right, do this, do
how
that.
do you react to this argument, which you know, I've heard friends make, that you know, sometimes people stretch work, people work longer hours than they need to, and in today's day where technology really ensures that your work day never ends because of the access to information all on the time, why should the number of hours I put in be more important than the value of the output that I'm giving
No,
you?
see, I actually have a different perspective on that because we have that issue. You
I'm
will always
sure,
find
I'm sure.
people here working late, and you know we have that. See, I think that today every single company, and let me say that every individual is far more ambitious on what he wants to do than is achievable in a normal work day. And you're always trying to sort of go that extra mile. I mean, you're sometimes very worried that otherwise competition will steal a march, whatever it is. So I think that if you want to achieve those very ambitious targets, as a company, as an organization, you really can't do it working a normal life. But Anuradha, I have a very different this thing about women, and because we're talking, my single biggest issue is that I think women don't have enough ambition.
Really?
Yes. A lot of them, I feel, are not ambitious enough in terms of what they can actually accomplish in a day. I mean, you can actually accomplish, being a good mother and, work. It takes a lot of planning.
But you're talking about Amazons, you're not talking about women.
No, I'm not saying. I have two grown-up children, and I've actually had that whole. But what I'm saying is it requires you to plan, change your style of working, be efficient both at home and in the office, and so on. But see,
But also means very, very supportive, let's say family, partners, all of that.
no, that's true. But see, if you have a burning ambition, I will say that you will also go around and get the support you want. I mean, you will fight a bit for that, being there. If you are not doing that and you're willing to give up, how do you think about it?
This argument, doesn't it also sort of fuel this this belief that women have, that they have to be good at everything and they can do everything, whereas maybe men get away by not having to do all those many roles, and then the women still have to do that many more and still be as competitive. I mean, what gives?
No, see, what I'm saying is that when I said that you have to ask for that support, that means if you need to have more support at home and not be doing so many things at home, you have to organize your life and you ask. Ambition, why it's very important is that especially today we talk a lot about, see, why are there not more women in the senior roles? One of the reasons is that, see, if you really want to be in top management, I think you need to have the ambition, the hunger, and the willingness to do what it takes. You can't give up that easily.
And you don't believe that the odds are stacked against you because you're a woman, because of the natural breaks that life
See,
makes
what
you.
I think is that it is partly an excuse, because you're right, there are things stacked against women, but in what time frame? I'm again back to this. I always say that, see, you don't have to achieve what you have at say I have to become a CEO at 40, 45. What does it matter if you became at 55?
Okay, so you're saying look at things with a more long-term view, perhaps.
Exactly. In my own life experience, I've taken I've taken the time to enjoy my kids. I worked a very hard day. I'm not saying with you that I didn't work a hard day. Even when I was telling you that I worked part-time, I used to go back to work after my kids slept at 10 o'clock at night and get that 2-3 hours this thing. But I managed to get my husband to support me and say, okay, it's okay to go to work at 10 and come back at 12-1. And I'm saying you have to
You have to go that extra mile. That's what your gender makes you do, and so just do it if you want to reach certain.
Yeah.
That you mentor a lot of female entrepreneurs, isn't it?
Yes.
I think you also recommend that mid-career breaks can be, instead of looking to come back into corporate life, you can look at entrepreneurship. But where does capital come from?
I absolutely feel that entrepreneurship is made for women because you can sort of grow an enterprise at the time frame and scale that you need to. Is capital easy to come by? See, nothing is easy to come by in life. You should need it.
That's the lesson Anita is leaving us with.
Yeah. So I think you must want it badly enough and you will find the ways. But I'll say today, there are really, if you take the entire, VCs and the entire environment, what we are doing in, TIE TSS and all of it, TIE Sri Shakti, I think what we are doing is we are trying to bring a lot of people like, the banks, the small there are many entrepreneurial support organizations that are there, bringing them together and saying, hey, here there is access, do it. And lot in the services sector doesn't need a lot of capital. You know, I started with 20,000 rupees. And in fact, even the printer, when I just started, was gifted to me by one of our clients who said, well, Anita, you need a printer to, you know, get started.
So you're saying just get started.
Just
if
get
you have
started
the
and
ambition
just
your
do
will,
it.
things will fall in place.
Just do it.
Okay, Anita, we're going to take a commercial break. But when we come back, we'll continue talking to Anita, and we'll also tell you what women are Googling for when they spend all that time, like all of us do these days, online.